Hey, Kayvon, good morning.
How you doing, Art? Good morning.
Good. Sometimes when we talk about setting the edge and run defense, we tend to make it a lot more simplistic than I'm sure it actually is. Can you talk about the evolution of your game within that and how you guys, approach that on Thursday night?
Yeah, I would definitely say, when it comes to stopping the run, it's definitely, technique, discipline, all the things that we practice, but then it's also mentality. Coming into a game, you kind of got to know that a team is going to run. Most teams are going to start off trying to run the ball. And, with the team like who we played last week, they got a great set of players that they can run the ball with. And, we're going to have to step up to the plate.
Your game. I mean, I won't speak for you, but it seems like you really have done a great job this year being a lot more physical. It's not that you weren't physical beforehand,
Yeah.
but going back to the summer when we talked about all the things that you worked on, was that a big part of your game? Just being able to hold up on that edge and being able to, be a physical force?
Well, the funny thing about, off-season training is that nothing is ever perfect, right? There's no drill. There's no one thing that you can do that guarantees you, success on the field. But I will say that, there was definitely a lot of, emphasis that I put on this off-season, just honing in on my craft and honing in on my discipline and becoming more mature as a run defender and a pass defender. I think my whole career, not just in the NFL, but in college, I took pride in the run game. And for me, coming to this next level, I understood how important it was and how I needed to improve on not just the run, but on the pass to be, a four-down player. So, we always kind of say, like, you got to stop the run to be able to get the opportunity to rush the passer. So I've taken pride in that this year.
Thanks, Kayvon. Appreciate it.
Evan Barnes.
Hey, Kayvon.
How you doing?
Speaking, kind of going on that note, when you guys are now rotating so much between you, Burns, and Abdul, do you see how it's helping you guys be able to be so effective because you guys are just being able to be so much more fresh with that rotation?
I think that is, a realistic perspective, but I also think, we're all, in shape and ready to play ball, just however much the game, will go. So I won't necessarily say that it's well, I will say that it is a positive having guys that you can kind of flow in and that can rush and that can do different things. But I think we all are still, will be capable to play more snaps or whatever the case may be, depending on the game or the situation.
Gotcha. Okay. And then also, when you get a chance to, I know you guys are off this weekend, but if you got a chance to look at this Denver offense yet?
No, not yet. We're looking at it. We're looking at it today and, tomorrow.
Got it. Okay, so I'll flip to this question. Obviously, Thursday the vibes were high, and everybody was just kind of, riding the wave of this win. So for you as a player, how do you try to make sure these vibes stay the way they are? Because obviously you don't want to get so high, get so caught up in that. But how do you try to make sure that you guys can sustain it going into this matchup on Sunday?
You got to be critical of the film. You got to look at your tape, see what you can get better at. And even though I feel like I played pretty decent this Thursday, I think there still is a lot of things to get better at. And I think when you do have a weekend off, it's time for a lot of self-reflection and some healing. So, just understanding what you can get better at as an individual and then also, as a team and seeing what we can improve on.
All right, thank you.
Brian Donlevy.
Hey, Kayvon, thanks for doing this.
How you doing?
Bo Nix, I know you just said you haven't scouted them much, but you guys share an alma mater. I don't think you guys were teammates, but do you guys have a relationship from you going back there at all? Or you have any kind of relationship with Nix and just watching him play? What do you think of him as a quarterback?
I think he's a great player. The memories I do have of him started with him at Auburn and beating us at Oregon. And then he ended up, going to Oregon after that. I didn't actually go to school with him, but I am familiar with him. We've been at the top of the recruiting class for a while, since about high school. So I've been to different camps and different environments where he's been. I think he's a great person. He's a great athlete. He's a great player. I think he's savvy. I think he's playing some great ball. But we're definitely going to try to, contain him and limit, what he can do on Sunday.
And then post-game, Dex said something like you guys urged Bowen to be a little more aggressive, and Burns was really complimentary of Bowen's game plan, being aggressive, especially on that flop pick. I'm just curious. You're one of the leaders of the defense. Is that something? Has that been a communication with you guys and Bowen? Like, hey, trust us. Let's dial it up a little bit more.
Well, I would say, it starts with just open communication, and trust with the coaches and the players. And I think that we have that in this building and facility or whatever. But I think that, Bowen has been elevating and changing and evolving on how he calls different games and kind of, his growth as well as our players and understanding, what works and what doesn't work, what we like, how to, different plays or schemes that will kind of help our skill sets. But I would say it's a collective. I would say there's no individual, there's no, kind of one man show. I think Bowen does a great job of hearing out the players. And I think, the players do a great job of making sure they, do what Bowen asks of us. So I would say just continuing to gel together and to continue to just keep the main thing and go out there and execute.
Thanks, Kayvon.
We'll take two more. Patty Trina.
Good morning, Kayvon. How are you?
How you doing, Patty?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Kayvon, to my untrained eye, it looks like the defense has been getting home a lot more with 4. What do you attribute that to?
I would say, individual skill. A team can't slide, the same way every time, right? They got to kind of figure out who to stop. And I think the tough part about being an offensive line is that, you usually want to leave the one-on-one for the weakest guy, right? You want to try to double team the best guys, leave the one-on-one for the weakest guy on defense. But for us, we don't really have a weak link, right? Like everybody is kind of trained to go. So being able to, whoever gets that one-on-one, being able to win that and show up and make the play, has been good for us.
Thanks, Kayvon.
Last one, Paul Schwartz.
Hey, Kayvon.
How you doing, Paul?
Good. I would think you would agree that, the best teams are consistent from week to week, right? Not predictable, but this Sunday, whatever day it is, we're going to get this. Do you know right now, first of all, as the team, week to week, what you're going to get from, the Giants?
Could you ask that question one more time? Like
Sure.
as far as what we're gonna do, or
Well, just as far as look, over the years, you say when you play the Chiefs, they're going to do this every week.
Yeah.
But you may not win. When you play the Ravens, this is what they are.
Yeah.
Do you know what the Giants are every week now so far?
Yeah. If I'm speaking for, I guess, offense, I would say, smash my football. Like they're gonna try to be physical and they're gonna, try to win the game up front. And I would say similar things to defense. We're going to play physical. We're going to try to win the game up front and affect the quarterback. So I would say from a, identity perspective, this is a team that when people come here, they're going to have to win it up front. We don't play cute ball. We play smash mouth football in New York. And I think that, aside from just the identity of the team, we play with a relentless passion and a vigor to win.
Do you think that has to be earned, Kayvon? I mean, you're saying that from within. But
Yeah.
do you think down the road these teams are going to look at the Giants and say, all right, this is what they are, this is what we have to deal with, or not yet? It's got to be something.
Well, again, people aren't watching these interviews trying to get the answers. People watching the tape, right? And the tape is what is the resume, So these characteristics that I'm bringing up, the smash mouth football, this is something that I've gotten specifically from the tape. And when I watch our team, this is what I think we show on tape, and I think that speaks volume to the league and that speaks volume, to our peers.
You like that? You like that resume? You like that identity for this team so
I
far?
think it can definitely still be cultivated. It can definitely still be upgraded and we can continue to pour in, but I do like the trajectory we're on.